In this video, I'd like to show you how you can add detail to a certain embroidery, but it's too hard to do as a fill. And so this is the one where I'm working on right now, and I have the image in the background, so I've turned the visibility of the fill off. And now, in order to get the detail of this evergreen, it's hard to create shapes out of that. So what we will do is we will go and use the Bezier tool. And with the Bezier tool, we can go and I'll just show here a few possibilities how you can go. I just changed the color there for a moment to make it better visible. We could go and create all little lines and create lines. That would be a little fast way of going about it, but what we're gonna have is there's gonna be a lot of stitches going on, and a lot of jumps and tie in and tie out stitches, so it will become really plugged up with stitches. So what we'll do is I'll go and select these and delete those. So what we want to do is still use the Bezier tool, but then we'll start and we keep going as one continuous line all the way through. And so we have to make a little bit of a choice on. So what I'm gonna do is come off a main, run a kinda, and go sideways to get the details, come back to the main line, go out, come back to the main line, and go out, back in, out, back in, and we pick where we want the details. And we may have to be careful that we don't overdo it either, because and then we just move up on the next branch and keep picking where we want the detail and how much of the detail we want. So you just keep it close on top of each other again down the main, and that way we can just keep going back and forth, and we go down the next branch. This way it will all become one running path. And if for some reason, okay, let's see, where is the next branch? Okay, we'll go up a little ways, and now we come. So it is a little bit of a time-consuming thing to get the details, but your results will be there. And then so you just have to take your pick, can always make changes afterwards, although it becomes a little bit tedious because you have so many points going already. So to add more points and manipulate them becomes a little harder, but it is possible. And constantly come back to the main line again. And if for some reason you go and accidentally double click so that that one finishes up, that is no problem. I'll change the color on it for a moment to give it a little more so there you can see that way you can go and put in the detail. So then we continue again, and we just click on the last node and we just continue. And we just keep following the contours. I'll skip that last end one there. I don't want to have too many stitches on top of each other because we have the background in behind too already. So we have to be careful that we don't end up with too many. And it is just click, click, click away. So yeah, like I say, it is time consuming, but the reward will be there. And once we're done, then this will all be, we'll turn it all into running stitches. And the main stem also I will be changing or making some lines up and down on that. Just to get the main stem filled in. And I will go and pause the video here in a bit, and then I will go and continue with all the detailing. And once I'm done, then I'll put that on the video yet. And as you can see, it is time consuming. You don't have to necessarily take every single branch. Okay, then here I will go and pause the video and I'll be back later. So yeah, now I have come to all the way around this first tree, and now I will be going and fill in a few of the spots on the main stem, and don't want to make too many in there. And Hopefully this will fill it all in, and now I'll double click. Can always add a few more if it needs be. Now I'll go and extension, Inkstitch, troubleshoot the object, Alt selected, valid, and I'll go and change it to a running stitch. So we gotta go to the fill and stroke and set a stroke style to a dotted line, and now that should be good. Extension, Inkstitch, can run the params for a moment. And there you can see, there you have it, tree with details, and it's all run in one pass instead of all little details and getting lots of jumps and whatnot. So I'll quit this one, and now I will go and continue on the rest of the detail on the other trees. And so most likely I will go and finish it all the way, and then I'll be back on the video again, and then we'll have a look at the final result. So yeah, here I'm back. I got most of the detail into it. I'll show you a few more, like here a few branches or whatever you want to call it, or I'll do a few more there. And so we use the Bezier tool, and we start just, the best thing is zoom in fairly close so you can see the points where you want to be as good as possible, and then just click up and down and decide on, hey, how am I gonna go and jump over to the next branch or leaf to get the detail you want, and back and forth and back on the same main stem again. And then if you want to create some extra detail in some corners, just go back and forth and come back to the main, and then see, where am I there. And if you create it this way, then at least you have very little jumps and very few tie-in stitches. Okay, now I'm gonna go up first for a moment and then come down and then try to jump over onto the next one, so that we don't have any that we don't really get any jumps in there. So it is a little bit of planning. And the density too, if you want to have certain areas denser, then you just go more up and down to create more stitches in that area. So now I'm running down, and I probably should have gone first and do this top and then come back and then do this piece, but I didn't. So now I'm dealing with trying to jump it as good as possible, and now I go back up, finish here on top, and create a few stitches there. And where you can look for also is go look at your ruler and see what kind of distance you have, and depends if you're working with a metric or imperial system, but a standard is about 4 to 5, yeah, right around the 4.5 stitch lines per millimeter. So you can keep that a little bit in consideration on how many lines you can go and put in a certain area without being too dense. And this is a bit of a time consuming, but you'll be really happy with the results you're creating. And also you have to watch that you don't overdo it with details. Sometimes in a project, when there's a lot of details, we have to skip some of the detail because you will get that it is getting too dense with all small detail. So I'll do this one here yet, and then I'll go and run the simulator for a minute, and then I would say you go and have fun, and hope you have learned something from this video and that you can excel with your embroidery and digitizing. Okay, so there I have it. Now I'll have to go first into the fill and stroke for a moment and change the properties, change it to a dotted line. That way it will become an automatic running stitch, and then I'll change the color. I'll change that there, and now I'll zoom out, and I could create a little more detail over here, but for this tutorial I'll leave it at that. And so I'll make everything visible for a moment, and there you have. Let's go to the ink stitch params, and so yeah, things may have to be put in the proper. Oh, I had only the last little section selected, so I'll just have to cancel for a moment, and now make sure I select the whole layer and go extension, ink stitch params. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Mine is popping up always in a different window. I got a computer with 4 monitors. But there you have all the. I'll slow her down for a moment, do a restart. Speed it up a little. So yeah, you also want to watch the stitch directions. Try to run your detail in a different direction than what your underlying shape is. So that way your stitches are not going to be disappearing in between the underlying stitches. So I like to get rid of this jump stitch yet, so I'll have to look at a few of the objects and see where the start and stop point is, and then I'll go and change that. And there you have it. And so, like I say, hopefully this has been helpful for you, and have fun. Okay, thanks for watching and take care.